Can you believe the energy exploding out of Hallis Hall right now? The Chicago Bears have officially kicked off OTAs, and the intensity is already off the charts. We are breaking down the absolute biggest reactions, head coach praise, and roster drama that you cannot afford to miss. If you want to stay ahead of every single breaking Bears update, roster rumor, and locker room reaction all season long, make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your fellow fans, and hit subscribe right now. With the pads barely on, the absolute biggest question on every single fan's mind heading into this week was whether our star cornerback, Jalen Johnson, would actually show up for voluntary workouts. Well, the tension in the room was palpable, but we finally got our definitive answer straight from the podium, and it is a massive sigh of relief for the entire city of Chicago. Jalen Johnson is officially in the building, he is on the field, and he is actively participating in team drills. Now, let's be totally honest with each other for a second. This is voluntary territory, meaning he didn't technically have to be here, and we know he missed some significant time during Phase 2 of the off-season program to get married and spend time with his daughter out in California. But seeing him lock in right now is absolutely monumental because, let's face it, last season was a brutal roller coaster for him. He struggled heavily with injuries, and when he was actually out on the field, his performance was undeniably compromised. He just did not look like himself. To make the stakes even more dramatic, this is an absolute make-or-break contract year because he has zero guaranteed money left on his deal after this upcoming season. If he doesn't completely ball out and recapture his elite form over the next few months, this could genuinely be his final ride in a Bears uniform. We all desperately want him to succeed and anchor this secondary for the long haul, but the NFL is a ruthless business, and the pressure on him to perform starting right now is completely through the roof. But while Jalen's arrival is great news, the absolute biggest shockwave from the podium today revolved around an explosive offensive weapon. I have been beating the drum all off-season about how high the ceiling is for this kid, but when the head coach drops a massive public endorsement in the month of May, you have to sit up and pay close attention. The coaching staff flat out stated that they are buying massive stock in wide receiver Luther Burden III right now, praising his incredible coachability and completely shutting down those pre-draft character red flags that floated around months ago. The reports out of camp are wild, with teammates saying he is moving at an entirely different speed than everyone else. The game is rapidly slowing down for his brain, and he put on an absolute clinic yesterday with multiple explosive plays down the field. This kid is chasing absolute greatness, spending his entire offseason training in the building alongside Coulson Loveland and building crucial, chemistry-defining timing with our franchise quarterback, Caleb Williams. It makes you wonder if we are looking at the undisputed number one target in this passing offense. This brings us to our official question of the day, and I need every single one of you to drop what you are doing and chime in down in the comments below. If you are fully buying the hype and investing your belief in Luther Burden to become a dominant force this season, type LB down in the comments section right now, and let me know exactly how many touchdowns you think he pulls down this year. Of course, the spectacular evolution of a wide receiver only matters if the man throwing him the rock is putting it on the money, and that brings us to the fascinating development of Caleb Williams. The coaching staff made it crystal clear today that their absolute number one focus for Caleb this offseason is a relentless, uncompromising emphasis on completion percentage and precision ball placement. They are grading every single throw with a microscopic lens because, despite his otherworldly arm talent, overall consistency and short area accuracy are the clear next steps in his development. Now, to be completely fair to Caleb, the Bears' wideouts led the entire NFL in dropped yardage and finished near the bottom of the league in total drops last year, so that ugly 58.1% completion metric doesn't tell the whole story. His ability to create magical, explosive plays outside the structure of the play usually makes up for those mistakes. However, the staff is taking this so seriously that there is a slight, underlying worry they might overcorrect. We cannot let them coach the natural gunslinger instinct out of him or force him to constantly check the ball down to underneath routes just to boost the stat sheet. The ideal balance is finding that sweet spot where he takes the easy, rhythm-building completions during OTAs but still unleashes those deep daggers when the defense bites. The most encouraging takeaway from camp is how much further ahead this entire unit is compared to last summer. At this exact time last year, the offense was completely lost, struggling just to break the huddle correctly. Now, because they aren't forced to learn a brand new playbook from scratch, they are operating at a high mechanical level, making these spring reps count infinitely more. Shifting over to the defensive side of the football, we have to talk about the absolute physical transformation of Austin Booker. The team released a photograph from training camp that instantly sent social media into an absolute frenzy because the young edge rusher looks completely yoked. His upper body looks incredibly thick, and while he still needs to pack some mass onto his lower frame to hold up against NFL offensive tackles in the run game, his physical development is skyrocketing. He is still a remarkably young player whose body is growing into its frame, and this specialized coaching staff has designed a scheme that perfectly dictates his high-energy style of play. Let's not forget that Booker is the primary homegrown catalyst who can single-handedly transform this defensive front line into a top-tier unit without the front office needing to panic and overpay an external free agent. The way he finished last season was nothing short of spectacular, racking up 4.5 sacks over the final 6 games of the year, including intense playoff performances where a couple more sacks were tragically wiped off the board by some incredibly soft, questionable penalties. His motor is completely off the charts, routinely playing 80 to 85% of the total defensive snaps down the stretch, and even staying on the field for an astronomical 97% of the snaps against the Packers in the postseason. He essentially treated his entire rookie year like a redshirt development season, meaning he is entering 2026 with an improved pass-rushing arsenal and a far better understanding of run keys. Meanwhile, a cloud of mystery still surrounds the status of Kyler Gordon, as the media surprisingly didn't ask a single question about him today. It is highly possible reporters were requested to steer clear of the topic, especially after reports surfaced that he has been nursing a frustrating soft tissue injury. However, if you look closely at the background of a recent motivational video released by the team, you can clearly spot number 6 moving around on the field. Whether he is restricted to side field rehabilitation work or taking limited mental reps in team drills remains to be seen, but his presence on the grass is an incredibly positive sign that whatever ailment he is battling is mostly behind him. When you couple that with Jalen Johnson locking into camp, this secondary is poised for a truly special run. The expectations have never been higher, the roster is deeper than it has been in years, and the intense battle for positions is going to make this upcoming training camp an absolute must-watch event. Turn on your notifications because we have an absolute mountain of exclusive content coming your way all week long. Bear down.